Now to talk about the Marcos cabinet revamp, we have Assistant Professor Arjan Aguirre of the Ateneo Manila University's Political Science Department joining us again today. Good morning and welcome to News and Views, Prof.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me here.
All right, so what do you think of this round's retentions and removals? Can we really call it the bold reset, as the admin would say?
Honestly, I'm still at a loss, with what's happening. I was expecting that, some, secretaries will be replaced. So far, what I have noticed is that majority have been retained. A couple of secretaries were, sabihin na nating, reassigned. Tapos, yun lang, a number were replaced. So, again, I'm still at a loss because I really don't know, what's the basis or what's the criteria that the president, is using. If they are saying that, they are evaluating the performance of each of these secretaries, perhaps the public, should be informed. Ano yung ginamit nila? Kasi so far, what I am noticing is that perhaps this is just, again, the response of the president as regards their poor performance in the midterm elections. And of course, yung kanyang dwindling public approval rating. So, yun yung parang nakikita ko dito na nangyayari.
But Prof, do you think this so-called bold reset or cabinet revamp of the administration did only entail the removal of some of the Duterte allies?
Yeah, and if you have noticed, even the positions, mukhang hindi sila yung major departments or yung mga major cabinet, positions. So if they are really, for major revamp, like, aiming for perhaps a more impactful change in the next 3 years, siguro dapat tinarget nila yung mga major departments talaga.
And let's talk about more on the method of which the president, tried to revamp his cabinet, the so-called revamp. No, other presidents would have just simply removed, reshuffled outright in the past. No, yung mga cabinet officials. But this one was a mass courtesy resignation request. From an optics standpoint, why do you think the president did it this way? And aside from just outwardly removing yung mga undesirables sa kanya?
Again, as I have, been noticing this past weeks, I think the president's goal here is basically to make sure that they can control public opinion. So again, if you will, go back to the previous weeks, makita ninyo na meron talagang effort to control public opinion, to dominate, the discussions sa media. Imagine, napansin nyo, this past weeks, di ba? All of our media institutions are talking about the same things. Tapos, dinidelay nila yung mismong announcement. So parang ako, nakikita ko dun, it's more of, controlling the discussion than, really, doing the right thing, changing the guards.
But do you think it's also a way of playing it safe na just in case na he fires somebody, makaiwas siya ng political backlash, di ba? I've seen other presidents, I don't like you, I'll fire you outright, but he asked for the resignation.
Yeah, pwede rin gano'n. Pwede natin makitang gano'n. And yun nga, isa pa, most of the personalities na replace, ito yung mga hindi natin inaasahan. So, so yun yung parang pwede ring anggulo na those people who were replaced, mukhang ito yung hindi natin inaasahan. And those who were retained, tapos yung mga reassign, yun nga, kanya-kanyang mga alibis, kanya-kanyang mga explanations kung bakit sila na-retain.
We've already discussed this before. Nasabi na natin na this is not new, diba? Every administration naman would do this, mag-cabinet revamp o mag-fire, mag-reappoint ng somebody that they want to hire for that position. Pero aside from what you mentioned earlier, why do you think may mga delays, diba, dito sa ginagawa niya? Parang ngayon, sa administration, sa PBBM administration, mas pinag-uusapan itong cabinet revamp niya na sobrang ang tagal na.
Yun nga, again as I have mentioned earlier, mukhang may effort to control the public opinion. if I were the president, I'll do this outright talaga. Imagine, you have been there for 3 years, di ba? Imposible naman na hindi mo na monitor yung mga performance ng mga departments mo. So again, the goal here perhaps is to control. May loyalty check tayo nakita before, pero yun nga after nung yung most recent na-release nila mga names yun nga, nagulat ako sa mga na-retain. Though meron pa tayo mga inaantay na mga personalities na siguro baka ma-replace, pero ako so far, yung mga major departments, yun yung mga nakikita kong crucial eh. So far, hindi, na-retain sila eh.
Based sa assessment mo as a citizen of this country, no, ano yung mga areas of concern in terms of sector na you think we need stronger cabinet leaders? Kasi some would say, of course, agriculture, and then some would say agrarian reform. How about you? What are your thoughts on this, Professor?
Ako, yes, I agree. Agriculture is one because we know that since he, became the president, di ba, nagtaasan yung mga bilihin, tapos yun nga sa agrarian reform, yun nga, itong dalawang departments, very crucial ito dahil so far, it's very ironic na yung bansa natin, alam mo yun, nag-i-import pa ng mga bigas, tapos kulang na kulang yung supply natin. Nakakalungkot pa, yun nga, sa Department of Environment and Natural Resources, nakikita natin na every year, same problem. Yung nga, sa tubig, water crisis. So, ako yun yung parang hina-highlight ko. Unahin natin yung interest ng publiko. Tapos, papasok dito yung second layer. Yun nga, yung sa security naman natin. So, crucial din dyan yung Department of National Defense. That's why ito, very vocal naman ako na buti na retain si Secretary Gibo Teodoro. Tapos, yun nga ako, tinitingnan ko kung mariretain, yun nga, yung National Security Advisor, kasi nga, crucial din yung kanyang position. Pero I assume na yung mismong yun nga, person behind, yun nga, yung sa position na ito, mako-consider yung kanyang background as a former military officer. Kasi tinitingnan ko rin yung role ng military bloc sa gobyerno ni President Marcos na kung sisipain niya lahat ng mga dating military officers na sabihin na nating sila na carry over or hold over appointees sila, meron din silang parang role sa political block ng mga military officers natin sa gobyerno.
So you're looking at the way it sounds, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, parang you're happy naman with the how the security block is functioning. But ang question ko, how about yung economic team? You look at their performance individually, some of them are doing well, but some would say let's all point fingers na lang to NEDA because at the end of the day, NEDA is the one that gives guidance on the projects and the infrastructures and every other project the government has with regards to stimulating the economy. So what is your assessment of the performance of the NEDA chief?
Yun. Ako, masasabi ko lang dyan is that for the past 3 years, again, we were expecting that something impactful, something drastic would happen pagdating sa ating economic growth. Pero so far, napakabagal, alam mo yung usad pagong. So perhaps, yun nga, sana natingnan muli ng ating presidente yung kanyang mga priorities pagdating dito sa ating ekonomiya. So sa kanyang economic team, masasabi naman natin na may mga may mga background yung kanyang mga napiling secretary dito. Pero ako bilang political scientist, ang request ko sana is more things to be done kasi nga naghihikahos pa rin yung ating ekonomiya tapos kumbaga hindi siya nararamdaman ng ordinaryong tao. So ako yun yung request ko sa ating Pangulo.
I want to go back dun sa sinabi po ni Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin. Sabi niya, there will still be blood, no? He was referring doon sa ginagawa nilang cabinet revamp. Pero do you think, meron nga bang hypothetically dumanak na dugo doon sa pagre-revamp ng cabinet na to pertaining to the removal of Soljan Menardo Guevara?
Again, if you have noticed do sa mga nangyayari ngayon dito sa cabinet revamp, wala pa tayo narinig tungkol sa level ng USEC, ASEC kasi apart from the secretaries, remember may mga appointees din na nasa baba So sila yung mga mas busy sa pagpapatakbo ng isang kagawaran. So wala pa tayo narinig doon. And as far as I know, mas marami sila, and ito mas malinaw siguro yung gagamitin nilang criteria sa pag-evaluate dito. Kaya ako mas naintindihan ko na pagdating sa USEC and ASEC levels, mas mabusisi yung magiging pag-examine dyan o pag-evaluate dyan ng ating presidente. Pero sa secretary kasi kadalasan mga political appointees yan.
Yes.
So kung may na-appointment sila dyan ng mga technocrats, again, mas madali silang ma-evaluate. So maaring in the next weeks, maaring may maglabas sila ng mga bagong listahan na mapapalitan. So again, we can assume that this is a loyalty check for the USEC and ASEC levels. Tapos pwede natin i-assume na naglilinis na sila ng mga bakuran nila, especially for the next 3 years. Ina-assume na natin na nag-iisip na yung presidente ng legacy.
Pero do you think na talaga daw target nitong revamp na to according to a political strategist ay si Sec Solgen Menardo Guevara? Ganito ka-elaborate.
Nilagyan lang daw ng side stories. Pwede kasi looking at his background, may connection siya sa dating administrasyon. Kasama siya sa law firm ng dating secretary na si Midaldea. Tapos rin siya, holdover appointee rin siya. Pero masasabi natin na maraming pwede maging dahilan, and pwede rin i-deny ito ng ating gobyerno. Pero so far, marami pa ako ina-expect na ma-replace, na may connection din sa dating administrasyon, na so far hindi sila na-replace
Oo. So what do you think naman po, Prof, doon sa what the administration is running now? I mean, the optics that they're doing right now. What I mean is, yung si PBBM, pumupunta na sa ground, di ba? We saw him sa MRT, riding the MRT nung Sunday. Then we saw him also yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, nag-inspection sa NAIA. So what do you think, ano yung nangyayari ngayon doon? This is right after the interview saying na magiging mas matapang na siya, mas maganda ka na katakutan.
Kumbaga, diretso na natin. Naniniwala ka ba, Prof, na gumagana na ang PR niya?
Yeah, so far mukhang nasosobrahan sila at mukhang obvious. So that's one thing that we should highlight, and I hope our listeners, our watchers should know this. That again, this is something that is deliberate. Mukhang talagang planado ito ng ating pangulo na para makabawi. Tapos yung cabinet revamp, tapos yung EDSA rehab, suspicious din ako diyan 'Di ba bigla nilang binawi. Tapos ngayon dinidiscuss nila. Dapat matagal na nila diniscuss yan, at sana napagplanuhan nila na maayos yan. Stakeholders should be part of the discussion, pero so far na madali. So parang ang intention yata nila doon is just to control the public opinion, mapag-usapan yung gobyerno, mapunta lagi ang attention sa ating Pangulo. So tama yung ating observation doon that so far this has been a PR-driven move coming from Malacanang.
What do you think naman po dun sa sinasabi ng iba na magulo yung messaging ng administrasyon, And in fact, they're saying dun sa pagdating sa usapin ng impeachment complaint, 'di ba? Lagi niyang sinasabi si President Bongbong Marcos na ayaw niya magkaroon ng impeachment, and yet yung anak niya isa sa mga signatory dun sa impeachment complaint filed sa House of Representatives. And right now, may mga delaying tactics daw, so-called delaying tactics sa Senate.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. That is one of the areas na dapat nilang ma-address. May mga conflicting claims or statements. And so far, I think that's one of the reasons why then people start to doubt or start, to become skeptical sa mga ginagawa nating gobyerno. Kasi iba yung sinasabi nila sa ginagawa nila. So perhaps in the next months or perhaps in the next years, sana mas maging careful ang ating gobyerno. Sana mas maging consistent sila, and please, they should avoid denying yung mga obvious things. Like for example, alam naman ng mga tao na kaalyado nila ang House of Representatives, pinsan niya yung Speaker of the House. Diba? Imposible naman na hindi sila nag-usap, hindi sila nag-meeting. So ako, ang request ko rin sa government is, apart from the PR-driven moves na ginagawa nila ngayon, perhaps more consistency, more, sabihin natin, honesty sa mga sinasabi nila.
Actually, oo nga, Professor, they said be more decisive and brave. Before we go, I'd like to ask you about the behavior of the Senate President. Many are very confused at the way he's handling things. Some are even kulang na lang sabihin na maybe parang naipit si SPG sa gitna ng wishes ng Malacanang but trying to keep quiet about it. From the angry sentiment of the minority bloc sa Senate, tapos from the anger of Congress, parang why is he keeping mum on ano talaga ang reasons niya for all of this delay daw? Do you think there's something, an offering in a position somewhere in the future? Hindi ako nagsabi niyan, Prof. Basta yung mga...
Nagmamasid lang.
Nagmamasid lang ako sa social media. Yan ang mga sinasabi. Kasi
Tama.
It's not very Cheese Escudero yung behavior as we know him from PGMA days. Eh.
Yeah, he's a seasoned politician. You know, we know that Cheese Escudero can really deliver.
Oh yeah.
And with the way things are happening in the Senate, I suspect that he knows what he's doing. He appears to be, playing safe, but again, we are in the middle of this negotiation for the Senate leadership. Tapos, ang assumption din dyan is that he's also trying to court the Duterte bloc, di ba? Gusto niya makuha yung support ng Duterte bloc. So, again, we should continue to monitor what's going to happen pagdating sa Senate leadership discussion, tapos yung impeachment trial na napipintong magbukas sa July. So again, yun yung aking parang punto dito that our viewers, our public should continue to monitor kasi we're dealing with seasoned politicians here. Hindi po tanga si Senator Cheese Escudero. He is a seasoned politician and he really knows what he's doing.
Alright, on that note, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. That was Assistant Professor Arjan Aguirre of the Ateneo Manila University's Political Science Department. Good morning again.